Hello everybody and welcome back to the Matt Fryer Golf Podcast. I am your host, Mr. Matt Fryer, and we are joined back by popular demand or that Tom is on holiday. You take your choice. Your co-host for this week, Mr. Adrian Fryer. How are we, sir?
Not so bad, thank you.
Good. Have
Yourself?
We normally start the pod by discussing either our intention of playing golf or actually playing golf. So have you played any golf this week?
No, not playing any golf. Been working very hard this week, but I do want to get my head down and do a bit of practice. I was disappointed with my last round, so that's motivated me. I've got 2 or 3 events kind of September, August and September, that I want to perform half decent in. So
You've got a bit of time then to get the sticks out and working on it.
Yeah.
I've actually ordered you a driver shaft as well.
Oh, thank you very much.
A little present. You can send me the money when it comes.
I'm upgrading my irons as well the next couple of weeks. So
full bag.
I'm enthused.
I actually played social golf this weekend.
What's that?
Yeah, no cameras, just me and 3 mates. Went out, had 9 holes on a Sunday afternoon. It was fantastic.
Enjoy it?
Yeah, didn't play. I played okay, nothing fantastic. It was more about actually just going out with the lads and having a bit of a laugh. We've not played together for all 4 of us, I would say.
I think people,
4 years.
Yeah, great. People do forget you are actually meant to enjoy it. It's not meant to be purgatory.
Yeah, so it was. I wasn't caring about the standard. It was more about the laugh we were having on the way round. So that was very enjoyable.
Nice to do.
Before we get stuck into this pod, we're going to be talking Open Championship today because it is Thursday, actually Scottish Open Day, which I really like the Scottish Open. I think it's a great event.
Well, it's raining, so
yeah, it means we are in England.
Weather.
Make sure, before we do get stuck in, though, you are subscribed to the podcast channel. We've seen loads of you coming over and seeing loads of really nice feedback on there, so do make sure you are, if you are a watcher, you are subscribed. If you are listening on any of the platforms that you are, please do leave us a review and make sure that you follow us on there as well. That helps us get it out to more and more people. And also go and head over to our Instagram page where you'll see clips and you'll also find the call to actions for if we're doing questions that we will be doing at the end of the show this week. So, Open Championship, Royal Troon. Excited?
Yeah, it's always just a great time of year, isn't it, for any golf nuts? If you're old enough to remember the BBC music, well, something like that, which is, but obviously Sky do a great job as well now, but it's exciting, and if you get the opportunity to go, obviously I know it's mad busy these days, but just the buzz, just like Wimbledon and all these other great sporting events.
It's quite interesting, like, this month, like July in England, is brilliant, isn't it? When you think we've got at the minute Wimbledon's going on, we've just had the F1, the Scottish is happening this week, Open's happening next week. There's probably some other tournaments as well, so it's a really good month, I think, in July.
It's a good June, July. Obviously, it's kind of Wimbledon's kind of starts June, doesn't it? I think, and then kind of goes into July, but it's mega.
So, will you be attending at all?
No, I'm not going this year. I've been kind of busy one way and another and finding time to go. And then I was debating kind of the Seniors Open as well, which is the week after.
Oh.
And some of my pals are playing, and they were saying, "Why don't you enter?" And I've not played well enough. Because I'm rubbish. I said, "Who wants to pay money to see me play?" Number one, and I've not played well enough. I've not got the time I've not created the time to hit balls, practice myself, and do it, but I'd love to go to the Open, but it's just difficult.
Yeah.
And if I was coaching somebody, obviously I've coached a few people in the past at Open Championship venues, I'd go, but I'm not. And
we're quite fortunate where we are in our neck of the woods that we do get 2 Open Championships on our doorstep in being Birkdale and Royal Liverpool. We did get Royal Lytham. Is Royal Lytham still on the rotor?
The Lytham are making some changes at the moment. They're hopeful, obviously. Both with Royal Liverpool and Lytham, they have space issues in terms of tented village practice areas and so on. So Lytham, which is a fantastic golf, well, they're all fantastic golf courses, but Lytham are changing a few holes. In fact, I'm hoping to play there in August with one of my students and member and a couple of pals. So I'm always look forward to that.
Right. Well, you're not going. I'm going all week.
Right, lovely.
I'm going to be up there, so if you are up there and you do see us, come and say hello. We're going to be doing some filming. We're playing quite a few courses, actually. We've got a match as well on the Thursday evening. Thursday. I'll have to confirm this. I need Tom, who has done all the organising and is the only reason I can function during the day.
Your babysitter.
Pretty much, yeah. He tells me where and what I need to do. We've got a match with who's going to be the new pro at Kilmarnock Brassey, which held held regional qualifying this year. I was hoping to play there, but I ended up at Fulford. We're going to be taking on him in a 9-hole match on the Thursday afternoon, and I think Dave, the secretary, is pretty happy and open to people coming along and having a watch. If you are bored of watching top quality golf, come and see me slap it round Kilmarnock. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be a good fun week. The Open's always brilliant, but today we're going to go through a few things. So I've got a few topics that I want to pick your brains on. Firstly, we're going to talk a little bit about the golf course, some interesting stats about the golf course, and I've actually got some stats from ShotScope, one of the main channel partners that highlights what amateurs do around Royal Troon, which I think is quite interesting. And then we're going to create a player.
All right.
We are going to make the perfect player to win at Royal Troon. And then also I want to pick your brains on who is going to win the Open. And everyone will bet on it, and if they don't, you don't provide the winning answer, you do owe them a refund.
I'll give them one of 20 possibilities.
How many people in the field? 152?
Well, yeah, I've got
all of them bar.
I've got a little list here of about, I don't know, hang on, 1, 2, 3.
He's just not put Ian Woosnam to
20, win. No, I've not put Woozy, but there's some interesting ones on there, and I think they're all capable, otherwise they wouldn't be teeing up, would they?
Yeah, everyone's got a chance. So, and then we've got a few questions that the listeners have put in, so that is going to be our running order. So, starting with Troon, have you played it? Have you
Never
been?
played it. Well, this is showing my age now. I went to the Open in 1977, the Jewel in the Sun, Turnberry.
Yeah.
But we actually stayed in Troon, right opposite the golf course. But I only played the Portland course, not the Championship course.
That was a Mackenzie designed the Portland one, wasn't it?
I think it was, yeah.
Willie Fern did the main one. And
no, I think James Braid actually. No, sorry, correction. Correction. I have to correct. Old Tom Morris.
No, he didn't.
Did
Willie Fern designed Royal Troon?
Did he?
Yeah. Call me out in the comments, but I'll pull it up on here, and I will show you. Who Willie Fern, you obviously know, won the Open.
Yeah. I thought, obviously as well as the new course at St Andrews.
Designed by Willie Fern in 1895.
Oh, well, yeah, I read the other day about...
Do you want to apologise now?
I'll apologise. I'd read something on a website about Old Tom. Now, whether he did the original... No, it wasn't. No, I thought he did
Reddit.
The original. Yeah. No, don't worry. I'm misinformed.
Yeah, so... That is who designed it.
Yeah, so in answer to your question, no, but I've never played it. I've walked, I've had a player play there in the past in the Open Championship, and it just struck me that, like a lot of these golf courses, you kind of look at the expanse and you think that looks pretty flat, and then when you're actually walking the fairways, there's all these humps and knolls, and they certainly struck me then as being really narrow.
Yeah, I've played it, I think 4 times now. And it's a strange thing. I think, especially when you go to an open venue, you probably hype it up in your mind more than you expect. So, I'm going to Royal Troon or Royal Liverpool or whatever it may be. And a lot of links courses, they are almost sort of featureless to the eye. They're very flat
until you
by
play
the sea
them.
Until you play them, and then it's more about the placement of bunkers, how you're going to get the ball to the green. Are you running it in? Do you fly it in? How do you play it? And I think Troon, especially for the first 5 holes, you could be guilty of saying, it just looks pretty bland and boring,
pretty ordinary or whatever.
But when you play it like we've played it, I've played it off the sort of yellow tees as they were, I think, back then, and then I've played the Championship tees. Off the yellow tees, it was a little bit like, well, nothing comes into play for me here. I'll just try and hit driver at the green because every hole was about 320. As where when you were playing it off the Championship, it was a real thinker's golf course. And like you say, the fairways do get narrow, but there seemed to be a bunker at every point as well. Like, well, What if I want to hit 4 iron off the tee? Well, there's a bunker at 220. What if I want to hit 3 wood? There's a bunker at 250. What if I want to hit driver? Well, there's one at 285. So there was very well placed bunkers all the way around it.
I think like everything in golf as well, everything in golf is in context, whether it's your golf swing, your grip, where you play. But when you play Open Championship venues for the first time, it's very weather dependent. You turn up on a nice day and you might be playing off the members' tees or whatever. You think, oh, that wasn't bad. And then you turn up on when you've played some of them, which I have several times, you get different weather each time, different circumstances, and how well you play. And if you play well that day, you make a judgment like we all do. Oh, well, I found it quite easy going. But if you play badly, I can remember the first time I played Royal Birkdale, 40 odd years ago, and I thought that was pretty tame. And then I played it a couple of weeks later in a howling gale and whatever, and didn't break 100, I think. And then your perception of the venue changes.
Yeah.
And when they obviously set it up for the Home Championship, the pin positions, the speed of the runoffs, and all the little things. And the wind. You only need a little bit of wind, and the wind obviously plays a massive
if it's
part
anything
in
like
your ball
today,
control.
it's going to be a
and if it was
it's
like
going to be a
this,
brutal test.
Just trying
to
keep dry today would be just a challenge. It's absolutely incessant.
Yeah, it is. And then as you move on through those first 5 or 6 holes, for me I think it gets interesting around about 7. You play this dog leg, left to right, and it goes into sort of a valley green, and you get the first look at the postage stamp as well, which is the famous par 3 8th hole. And you walk by the green as you're going down the 7th fairway. 7th green's really great green, really, really duned around it, sort of feel like you're playing into a little bit of an amphitheatre. And then from there, I think it gets really, really good. You play 7, 8, 9's a good hole, 10's an interesting one. It's very blind as you tee off, and then you play into a sort of a ledge, and do you hit driver up or do you not? And then when you get to the 11th,
then the fun starts. Well, it has a reputation for being one of, if not the hardest back nine, doesn't it? One of that, and probably Carnoustie and whatever.
Yeah. It'll be interesting, and I think as everyone's watching the Open, if you are up there in person, go up to the 11th and try and get a look, because you stand on the back. It's 482 yards off the back. It used to be played as a par 5 as well, up until about 1989, I think it was. But you stand on the back tee, and as you're stood on the championship tee, there's a railway running all the way down the right.
Yeah, of course, remember, it's a bit like the 16th, isn't it, at St Andrews?
Yeah, a little bit, in sense,
tight drive.
Yeah. And then as you stand and look out to where the fairway is, all you can see is gorse. And they trimmed a bit of it back when we played last time, but even now, when you stand on that championship tee and you look out, all you see is just that yellow gorse just staring at it, and you have to literally pick a point in the gorse and say, right, I'm going to hit it at that gorse, which doesn't sort of feel right, does it? It's one heck of a hole, and I can't wait to see how the pros get on. And like I say, if you are up there, check it out, but then if you're watching at home, make sure just keep an eye out for that 11th, because I think if people are doing well, it could be a really big card wrecker. And or if you end up picking, if you make a birdie on that hole, you've picked up about 2 on the field, I would say. But let's just have a look at a few stats from ShotScope, which the average golfer would play. It's quite interesting to see what people would do around there. What would for an Open Championship course, if you're an 18 handicapper, what would you say is a good score? It's a par 71, Troom.
So when they've done the stats, are these off the kind of members?
Yeah, so these will be different tees collected, average scores. What are you saying?
And what an 18 handicapper shot round there, on average.
Yeah, or what would you say the average amateur shoots round?
Well, it depends. Obviously, depends on what handicap they are. But
Yeah.
if you're talking 18 handicapper, if they break 100, they're probably going to be pretty pleased.
Yeah,
I would think, and not as being disrespectful to them, but these courses, and okay, I know the greens aren't maybe like Augusta and 5-putting all of them, but they're still tricky to get the ball near.
Oh yeah, they can speed them up. It's the rough and the tee shots. Well, the average score is actually 80.
Is it
80.6 for the amateur? Yeah,
right,
which is quite interesting. This one's interesting, which I think is fairly high. Fairways in regulation is 52%, which
Yeah, that's
for
good.
round there,
Yeah, again, I mean, I think it depends what that cross section of players are. I mean, if it's all the visitors are 5 handicap going to play,
yeah,
obviously those numbers would, you think, yeah, that's okay. But if they're 18, 20 handicap, it's different. So it depends on where
I'll
they've taken
I'll tell
the
you
data, doesn't
that
it?
a 20 handicapper on average is hitting 45% of the fairways.
That's good.
15 handicap 47, 10 48, 5 51, and scratch and below 50. So it's actually quite. I was very surprised by
seems
that.
like it's quite kind.
Yeah.
But again, I don't know the tee placement, and you know what it's like at the home. You look back and see some tees that you've never seen before. You think that's where they're playing the championship from, and then it's a different complexion. And as I say, once you put a bit of wind into the bargain,
Yeah.
that's when the fun starts.
Yeah.
And you know, it's even looking back at Pinehurst, and what a great win by DeChambeau, but his recovery shots were amazing.
Yeah, I don't
Credit
think
to him,
that
but
strategy doesn't work.
I was
at
going
Troon.
to say, that strategy, if you go in that gorse, you know, you think you're going to hit it out even with a wedge, and next thing you've wrapped the thing around your ankles and the ball's gone sideways.
Yeah.
So, as strong and as powerful and as a greater player as he is, I think that, you know, you're going to have to get it on the short stuff. I know it's a cliche, but, you know, as soon as you put it in the rough, you know, or,
take your medicine.
serious rough, you know, if you find it.
Yeah, got to watch what you're doing now. One of the other things there is, we touched on there the 8th hole a moment ago, par 3. Now that hole is going to play one of the shortest hole in Open Championship history. There's talk that it's normally 123 yards. There's talk that they're going to make it 99 yards, and you may, like, people might go 99 yards for a pro. You'd scoff at that, but when you actually see the hole and you
It's
play
very
on
narrow and a little bunker on the side.
Oh, I made the videos out there online from one of the In the Reds that we did last year, I think it was. I ended up in the Cardinal bunker. I took 4 to get out.
Yeah, it's very narrow, isn't it?
I was right up against the face. I hit it. It went back over my head, up against like the sort of back lips. I had to duff it forwards into the bunker. I then had to try and play out sideways, which I didn't manage, and then had to splash out like coming across.
Tommy Nakajima.
Yeah, but the thing is as well, once the Cardinal bunker's on the left-hand side, and the pin was in the middle. Now, from where that Cardinal bunker is,
Whiz it out across the green into the other side. Yeah,
it's a
drop-off,
slope
isn't it?
coming down. Yeah, and it's it's coming out quick. Like, you're not going to get much height on it because it's so narrow. You struggle to get a swing sometimes in there. But it hit the green, and like I'd literally maybe got it out half a foot over the lip.
And
I had a 20-footer coming back, but if it would have gone another foot and a half, I was down into the other bunkers the other side.
Yeah,
The green's so
I remember
narrow.
sitting behind it at the last Open Championship. I did go, and I sat and watched them for a while, and I think it was playing about 130 then, 139, something like
No,
that.
it can only go 123.
Or was it 123 the
Yeah,
maximum?
yeah, it's longest,
Right.
yeah.
All right, surprised me. So it was round about that yardage, and they were hitting 9-iron wedge and what have you, and it wasn't great weather, but the amount of people who did stick it in the bunker. And it's a bit like Sawgrass and all these other, and the 12th at the Masters and so on. On paper, that yardage looks pretty simple.
laughable.
You know,
When you play,
but where they put the pin and how narrow they make it, and a bit of nerves and all that.
I was going to say the nerves come into it because of its reputation, because it's the postage stamp. It's one of the most famous holes. It's probably in the top 3 famous holes in the world. I would say.
Right up there. Yeah.
You know, when you stand on that tee and you peg your ball up, you go, "Oh God, I'm playing the postage stamp." And you start, and you think to yourself, "Well, I've only got a wedge in my hand. Just don't be silly. Just hit it forwards." And it's elevated as well.
Yeah,
You're
it's
sort
elevated,
of 30, 40 feet up from the
down.
7th fairway. It's a sort of dead ground between you and the green because that's propped up in the air as well. So you're more exposed to the elements as well up there. But you start shaking. What we played a few years ago, and it was similar sort of thing. Everyone, postage stamp's coming up. It's 2 holes away. I can't wait to play it. Lad got on the tee. I won't say his name. Good player. Ball down, shanked it. and he'd had probably 3 wedges prior to this, and he'd hit them all to about 15 foot. So he gets up on there, just straight hosel rocket over the 7th fairway, lost golf ball, gone.
It does, and it's that, that's the psychology of the game, isn't it? You're looking forward to it, you build it up in your mind, and so on. And again, that's where these holes can be pivotal, and they're meant to be. They're just great designs, aren't they?
Yeah, well, it's funny you say the word pivotal there, because there are 4 par 3s at Royal Troon. We've got the 5th, we've got the 8th, we've got the 14th, and we've got the 17th. 17th, 218 yards, and I believe they've made it longer to play about 250.
Yeah.
The 5th as well, that's 210. 8th, 123, and the 14th, 178 yards. Now, ShotScope data, average score for the average golfer's collection of 0 to 25 handicappers. Every single one is over par. 3.6 on the 5th, 3.5 on the 8th, 3.6 on the 14th, and 3.7 on the 17th. So I think they're going to play a huge part when it comes to the championship.
I think they will, and we obviously know, your tour players hit the ball such a long way, so 200 yards for them these days isn't a big club relatively, unless again the wind blows. But even so, it's still small targets, longer club.
Yeah.
It's harder to hit. There's no doubt about it.
And what is interesting when you see the course as well, and again, if you are up there, make sure you go and check them out or see on TV. 8th, if you miss that, obviously huge undulation down to the right, like say about 30, 40 feet. You're playing back up.
As you say, even if you're playing a worldie cut up, it still isn't over.
Oh, it's awful. It's
a bit like
awfully
17th this year
tough.
at Royal Liverpool. It looks innocuous. You're knocking over the back, and all of a sudden on the left or the side. And
they're not quite that crazy. 17's like one as well. There's going to be 250. Runs up to the green, runs left off the green, runs right off the green. So if you do miss the green, you're faced with quite a tricky up and down. So I think, if you look at the end of the championship,
going to be fun.
What the champion actually scores on the par 3s, I would suggest that they won't be, too far over par. They'll probably be either roundabout level or maybe just have dropped 1 or 2 shots the whole 4 rounds, that they
and
play
that's all
there.
about, as we know, data these days, all about patience, their strategy, whether they're not going for pins and they are trying to hit it to a certain part of the green and just get out of those holes.
Yeah.
As you say, grinding 4 pars out.
Yeah, that's the big thing. So talking about patience, I think that's one attribute of a champion. If you were looking at all the past champions or the champion that is going to be crowned that Sunday, what do you think makes for the best attribute to have? Obviously, we've seen different winners at Troon. Last time, 2016, Henrik Stenson. Time before that, 2004, a gentleman by the name of Todd Hamilton. Some people might not know that name listening to this pod.
Yes.
But a sort of relatively, that was his only top 10 in a major.
Yeah.
He'd had 2 wins on the PGA Tour, and that was about it. If you remember back to that Open, he used that Adams tight lie little rescue, didn't he? And just literally putted it from everywhere. It was great. That was sort of my first memory of the Open. Before that, we've had Justin Leonard, we've had Tom Watson. I think Trevino won there.
There's a great documentary just that the R&A released this week as well on the 7th about Trevino. It's fantastic for any aspiring player, but if you want to learn about resilience, it's on the R&A TV.
Yeah, that is
unbelievable.
A good watch. Make sure you go and check that out.
Last night. Brilliant.
So, what would you say if you were picking the one attribute? Obviously now we hear distance. You've got to smash it. That's the only way to win on tour nowadays. You've got to be up there. They're always the longest. Or is it a case of you need to putt well round there? Do you need to have good iron play? We've just seen that the par 3s are a trifle testing. What would you say is the key attribute for winning at the Open Championship?
Yeah, I'm going to make a really important prediction. The one who shoots the lowest score.
I mean, yeah, that's
yeah. But no, I mean, I think obviously Stenson.
Breaking news, folks.
yeah, Stenson.
That's the Michael Owen thing.
That was
the,
it, yeah.
the team who scores more goals, I think, will be the winner.
Yeah. It is. That was a tongue-in-cheek comment. Before you phone in or make any reply in the comments section.
You've got your
I've got my
paper
little
out there,
extensive list here because I did a list of kind of major champions, which include, and also some live players, which
don't give us names yet. We're talking attribute. What one attribute?
I think number one, you've got to drive it accurately. I mean, they all hit it long enough, don't they? That's why they're there.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, there are some that are super long, and some that. Normal long, shall we say?
Normal long.
Yeah.
Are you long or normal long?
Yeah,
well, normal long.
Well, they're all long, aren't they? Long enough, shall we say?
Yeah.
They're all long enough.
Average would be a good word for that.
Yeah, exactly. Well,
not normal long.
Yeah. Well, but you know what I'm saying. So you've got your super longs, your Brysons, and so on, and your Dustins and what have you.
I don't think you've got to be, like you say, accuracy
Well,
there. If
I think
Bryson employed the same tactics that he did round Pinehurst, just right, smash it. Like you said earlier, that sort of
bomb
that they had up there.
That sort of stuff
you're not getting away with that.
Well, yeah, I mean, obviously it was all different, wasn't it? And he got some in those sandy waste and natural waste, whatever.
Reports as well from, by the way, just sorry to interrupt you, reports about the rough at Troon. I've had a few friends play this week, and they said it is like the worst rough they've seen at an Open.
Yeah. Well, if
so
you
that'll
again,
be interesting.
for example,
and it's smashing it down today.
If it's raining up there today, like it is here today, and you get that club in the wet, how much of an impact that has on the speed of the club and moving it through that lush grass. I know the RNA will be managing the rough, obviously, and watching it very closely. But it's not just kind of, I'll get a 5-iron out and whack it down there. It's chop it out with a wedge job, isn't it?
So I think driving distance your one thing?
Oh, no, I wouldn't say driving distance. Driving accuracy.
Driving
accuracy long enough, obviously, which, is obvious to a degree. But I said, I don't think it's going to be a massive advantage with you being super long, unless you, of course, stick it in the fairway, and then you've still got the rest to do, haven't you? Obviously, you've got to be a good putter. Statistically, you look at Cam Smith and all these different players. That week, you're on. You're holding when it matters most. You're
putting
holding
like Matt Fryer.
Yeah, well. Yeah. When you
dismiss that one quick.
Yeah, well, no, you're a good putter. You're a good putter, but when it matters most that week, that's when those
the crucial the part, the momentum ones.
You hold the putts that matter, don't you?
Yeah.
And you up and down on those long ones and so on. You're not giving shots back to the field. You're not giving 3 putts away.
No.
You're grinding your bars out. And I know that seems kind of cliched, but it's fact. You only need to look at the stats and look at the US Open. You could say it was the putting that made the difference or whatever. Lots of different opinions on that, but you got to hold them when it matters, and that's what champions do.
Yeah.
Every Open Championship or major championship, they hold them when they're coming down the stretch. Yeah, that's when their resilience, their mental toughness, fortitude, bit of luck, maybe a drain one.
Yeah.
And so on. But
I'm going to put it out there. I think the most important attribute next week. Patience.
Yeah, patience, of course it is.
They can all play.
Yeah.
You look at someone like Todd Hamilton back in 2004, probably wasn't expected to win. No one have said, look at this guy, he's definitely going to win. Had the game, but just sort of plodded along. And I think especially when you're playing links golf, you can hit a great shot and get a really funky bounce, can't you? You could hit a good drive and you think, let's say the bunker's at 260 and your 3-wood only goes 240, but you hit a good one, catches a little bit of a downslope on its first bounce and it goes scooting across the fairway. Next thing you're in the back of a bunker, and I think the player that can roll with all the punches all week and not get, too hot-headed, someone like, say, a Garcia. I would say that if there was a few injustices that happened out there, funky bounces that didn't go, I would probably say there's maybe 30% of the field that you would look and go, yeah, they're probably not built right for this.
Well, the reaction, as you say, I mean, and again, it's another cliche, but if I might have said it in your other podcast the other week, but some people's natural temperaments, I see it on the lesson tee, is not suited to golf. And they've either got to adapt or change. It might be suited to doing other things in life, but you kind of can't bully this game. The game's too hard.
Yeah.
And you have got to be super patient in golf. You've got to roll with the punches. You've got to be able to handle adversity. Because some days you're going to get the good bounces, which you kind of forget.
Yeah.
And then the bad bounces and the bad luck, if you want to call it luck, goes against you, and you get wound up. But you've got to be, a great case in point this week, Bernard Langer. He finished, obviously, his final European Tour event this week, the German Open, 503 events or whatever later. And if you want to look at a resilient golfer who's made the most of
had
his
the yips
situation.
twice, didn't he?
He's had the yips 2 or 3 times. He's come from a little village in Bavaria or whatever, and no one played golf. 800 people in the village. No one knew what golf was. What's this weirdo doing playing golf? No family played golf, and got on obviously the European Tour. I think he went to the tour school several times. But if you look at somebody who's overcome adversity, had back operations recently, all sorts of different things, kept himself incredibly fit, not long. I mean, Harrington, I think, was talking about him the other day about a particular hole he played the week before, and Harrington was hitting 9-iron in, and Langer was hitting a little rescue or a long iron in, and still hit it just as close.
Yeah,
but
meticulous, wasn't he?
And going back to things that happened with, say, Rory the other week and so on, Langer missed the putt for us to lose the Ryder Cup. He didn't lose it individually. Obviously, it's a team thing. But these guys just bounce back.
Yeah.
It's just everybody.
Patience.
Everybody's got, excuse my French, crap going on. But your real hard cases, your Trevinos, your Sevis, your Faldos, your Hogans, your Nicholas, whatever. They're just Tiger, so resilient. They're just on a mission.
So is that what you would say is the main thing they've got? They've obviously got all the if they've got all the attributes, driving it normally long, they're hitting decent irons, wedge it, put it well. If they have a bit of resilience and that patience, that'll carry them, a little bit further.
Patience
than
someone. is just number one necessary.
Yeah.
It's a non-negotiable.
Yeah.
Ain't patient, don't play this game. Play something else. Go and kick a football about, or do something where you can let off steam.
Yeah.
Because you're out there for 3 or 4 hours, and you've got to control your
6 hours in the open.
Yeah, 6 hours. You've got to control your emotions. There's going to be interference, just like in a club comp for your viewers. You've got somebody you don't like playing with, or the weather, or you've had an argument before you came out, or you've got work issues or whatever. You've got to be able to isolate yourself. And that is your task. And, fair play to Tiger over the years and all stuff going on.
Yeah.
That they're able to not delete the interference. We accept it's going on. But they're there to do a job and a task, and okay, in a round of golf for 4 or 5 hours or whatever, you're only hitting the ball 10 minutes. It's 30 seconds preparation.
Stewing on all that.
So it's back to all the psychology stuff. Can you concentrate for 10 minutes? Well, of course you can, but it's being able to individually focus on those shots. Can you give that shot your undivided attention, just for the kind of the pre-swing and the kind of think box, play box for 30 seconds or whatever. Tons of books written about it and podcasts.
Yeah.
Are you able to do that? And again, you look at Tiger and Nicholas, all the greats, that's what they were good at.
Yeah.
They can give that task their undivided attention, and there will be interference.
Yeah.
From the crowd, from the weather, from your caddy, from your playing partner, people going slow, fast, whatever, pairings, and so on. But it's an individual sport. You've got to golf your own ball and manage your own emotions.
Yeah.
And as I say to the kids I coach, no one cares. No one wants to hear you bleat. We're all too wrapped up in our own game to worry about what you're doing.
Very true.
and so you have to be, to a degree, selfish. I went to a seminar many years ago, and it was with Clive Woodward, the England rugby coach captain, etc., and mentor. And and he said, obsession is healthy. You know,
Yeah.
nowadays, if you're obsessed with something, you're a bit of a weirdo. Social media makes you sound like a freak or whatever. But if you think about your Faldos, your Hogans, they would go to the end of the practice ground and be loners and whatever. If you're a loner these days, there's something wrong with you.
Yeah.
Well, you know.
Moving on from there, where do we go if we are picking the perfect golfer? Where, if we have to say driving, iron play, short game, and putting, who we going driving?
Well, you're not playing, are you?
No, I'm not. No,
Yeah.
didn't make it.
It's a difficult one, that I would say, because they're all, you know,
Pick one.
so good, aren't they?
Yeah.
You know,
But
and I've not looked at
who do you want you to drive the ball for you around Royal Troon?
I've not looked at the stats, the driving stats, who's kind of the best driver. I know, kind of looking on social media and what have you, you see people doing their prep this week. I've seen Rose up there doing stuff, and I'd dearly love him to win. I think it'd be well deserved.
Team Rose.
Team Rose. I'd as an Englishman, I'd love Fitzpatrick. Fitzpatrick's.
Yeah.
Obviously, he's proven.
So just again, who are you picking for you to drive the golf ball?
There's a good one.
I'm going Rory. No one
Yeah.
drives it better than Rory.
Yeah, I would.
Long, straight. Rory's my
Yeah.
go-to off the tee.
I would say that's a good shout. Him and possibly Scheffler. I would say.
Scheffler, okay.
Hello. Yeah.
Iron play. Who you having as your iron artist?
Interesting one, that, isn't it? I'd Fitzpatrick.
As your iron player?
Well, simply because he's so disciplined with his stats and his yardages.
Yeah.
And this goes back to patience,
Okay.
about positioning the ball
Yeah.
in the right part of the green
Yeah.
to give yourself an opportunity to ultimately
Yes. Bit of a, I like that.
knock one in.
Yeah.
I've not looked at his stats, but I'd even look at someone like Tyrrell Hatton. Tyrrell Hatton looks a lot.
Yeah, he flags it.
I know he's pulls the face and every shot's not done what he's wanted it to do.
He's good iron player, like,
but he hits it.
a lot of mid-irons,
He
he's
stiffs
like,
it
yeah.
with a lot of mid-irons.
Yeah.
You know. But I've not looked at the stats of who is technically the best, closest proximity.
So we're going
to
to
the
go
hole,
Rory
you know.
driving.
Yeah.
I would have said either Morikawa or Scheffler for
Yeah.
iron play.
Morikawa, yeah. He blows a bit hot and cold, Morikawa, I find.
But we'll go with yours. We'll go Fitzpatrick.
Yeah.
Short game. Who's wedging the ball for us?
Harrington.
Right. Okay.
Blast from the past.
Yeah.
And I don't discount Harrington. What I love about Harrington, and I've got him on my list here of potential major winners, on my little list, because he's passionate. He just loves the game.
Yeah.
And he's still learning.
Yeah.
He's like Langer in that respect. There's no age limit with Harrington.
No,
he's
no.
long,
Yeah.
super long.
He's longer than he was
He's
when he was
longer
playing.
than he was when he's
he
playing.
won.
He's more knowledgeable. He's more patient. Harrington is an anomaly, but he's phenomenal.
Yeah.
You know,
like that.
there's no sell by date with Harrington. And if I saw him, in fact, I'm not a gambler, but if I get down to the bookies for a top 5 finish,
Top 10.
You have top 10.
There you go, folks. There's your pick.
There you go, guys. Make some money. I reckon he'll be in the mix.
Right. So we've got Rory is driving. Fitzpatrick is hitting the irons. Harrington's digging us out of trouble with a wedge. Who's putting?
I think we go for Mullet Boy.
Mullets boy, which is
Come on, there's only one.
Cam Smith.
Exactly.
Cam Smith. Yeah.
Cam Smith, great putter, isn't he?
Yeah, he rolls it
Unbelievable.
well. He rolls it well, to be fair.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
Or would I? Who rolls it better than him? Who holds everything? 10 foot.
Would you go Rose? No, steady.
No.
No.
I won't pick Scheffler. We all know he's a little bit iffy there.
How about Mr. McIntyre as a little outsider?
Bob, I just
Bob,
don't see him as a roller of the rock who always impresses me when they put. Do you know who holds out
On
well? Justin Thomas.
Yeah.
Always puts well,
Yeah.
it seems. I'd
He's
love to
been
see
quiet.
the stats.
He's been quiet
Yeah.
for a while, hasn't he, Thomas? And you know.
But we'll go for that, Cam Smith. So we've created our golfing champion, which is Rory, who is driving. Fitzpatrick,
Irons.
irons. Harrington, I love that, is wedging.
Yeah.
And then Cam Smith is putting.
Yeah.
We're
going to genetically engineer this guy.
And whose patience are we taking, saying that that's the key attribute? Who is the coolest customer out there?
I think Justin Rose to a degree. No?
Scheffler. It's got to be Scheffler. Look at him at the minute.
Yeah,
all
Scheffler's
that.
cool.
You can get arrested
cool,
and still go and play golf.
But he's not from this side of the pond, is he?
Right, doesn't matter.
Come on.
Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Right, so we've created an absolute legend of a golfer there. We just need them to happen. Who's your? Give me one person. You got £10 to spend. Who are you picking to win the Open? Is it your boy Harrington, or are you going elsewhere with your pick? Before we jump into some questions.
Well, I'm sure everybody would love to see Rory and all these guys, but I'm looking at, the UK side of the pond or the European tour. I've got a list of European others there.
Okay, pick one from there then.
Let's go, because he's not been doing much, but he's going to be coming. Let's go, Mr. Fleetwood. I've
got a bet on Tommy.
Yeah,
he's in a large.
I think Finno's back on the bag, isn't he?
I spoke to Finno last week. I think he is.
Yeah.
Yeah. From what he was, we're meeting up for a beer, so.
And he's due, isn't he? He's due. He's due, and he would be a super popular winner, especially locally. And if not for me, then Matt Fitzpatrick, because I'm being totally partisan. I'm sorry for your overseas viewers.
Yeah.
But, I'm being totally partisan.
Who's my winner?
A couple of Northerners.
I do like. I like Fleetwood for the win.
Yeah, he's been quiet. He's been
Fleetwood.
Quietly going about his business.
Yeah. Or I want to say Scheffler, but I just don't know. I've not really looked at too many at the moment, so I've not really made my choices. Normally I would have had like a good...
I think the factor in as well, all the press and the media hype, there's so much expectation put on these players.
Yeah.
And obviously sometimes someone sticks their head up who you weren't expecting, and you see that leaderboard on the first day, and it depends on the weather, doesn't it? All of a sudden someone goes out and shoots 66 or... Yeah. Whatever you'll say, look at Brandon Grace, look at Turnberry, shooting super scores, and not in the first round, but someone shoots a low round, and you think, oh, I didn't see that coming. Yeah. And they're kind of hovering around and so on. But over those 4 days, you need somebody consistently grinding it out, and then in the mix that last day. And there's so much with all the press and the interviews and so on. It must be terribly hard for them to kind of play it down. And someone like Scheffler, where the expectation is he's so good, and he's just been playing so well. Yeah. That and he handles it incredibly well, doesn't he? And going back to patience and people's temperament, he seems to have developed, and some of them it's not God given. Some of them they work on it. Yeah. Of how they're going to manage themselves and what they project to the press and the golfing world, and others it just comes naturally, and some of them are just hyper competitive. Yeah. In the past, the Greg Normans and your Hogans and so on, they were so competitive, just hate losing. Yeah. Seve just hate losing. Yeah. So that sheer competitiveness overrides any nerves, overrides any patience, overrides everything. They're just so fiercely competitive.
Do you know who we should have put in for wedge play? And this is who I'm going to back. Shane Lowry.
Yeah, incredible.
Wonder
incredible.
Kid.
And we've not mentioned him, but he is obviously.
I fancy him. Him, Morikawa or Fleetwood's going to be my picks. But moving on, let's get to some listeners' questions. There's some strange questions people have put in about, like, do I go to the barber to get my beard trimmed? No, I'm not rich. Like, what's your favourite cheese? Cheddar. Like, come on, let's be better, folks. Here's one. This is good for you. Mike's Golf Life. How can I hit lower iron shots without compensating too much distance into the wind?
Oh, now we're going to get technical.
Club up.
Well, club up.
Club up, hit it softer, take the spin off.
Yeah, hit it softer. There's all sorts of research, and now, of course, launch monitors are proved in the old days, put the ball back, hit down on it, but if you hit down on it...
More spin.
You create this spin loft and it increases it. So certainly what I would recommend. Depends on the level of the golfer. Move the ball back a hair.
Yeah.
You've got to lean the shaft forward more at impact.
Yeah.
You're going to try and feel that you're scraping it off
brush
kind
it.
of a thin divot. But shaft lean is key because that de-lofts the club. So that basically brings the loft down and the angle of attack is shallower. So this spin loft vector they call about is lower. And 3/4 swings. You know, if it's a 7-iron distance, take a 5 or a 6,
Yeah.
and swing a bit more quietly. 3/4, do your Tommy Fleetwood impression,
Yeah.
and just nudge it under the wind and brush it. But shaft lean is key. You do need to practice shaft lean without hitting a humongous divot.
There we go. Fixed it, Mike. Jason Strickson on Jason Strickson Golf. Can Aberg and McIntyre be considered as outside winners for this year's Open?
Definitely.
Yeah, I would think,
Look at the list.
Oh, there it is.
Others. There's my others list, incidentally.
He's wrote every other player.
No,
that's
Aberg, Pavon, because Pavon has
another one.
been doing great in the US.
Yeah.
McIntyre and Nicholas Hogard. I mean, there's a bunch of Scandinavians. Hogard really impresses me. You know, as well as Maroc, and there's some great players, and you cannot. But I think there'll be a lot of expectation on Aberg, because he's so good.
Yeah.
And again, I would like to think we'll see him up there. I've been watching him on social media. He's been preparing hard, so definite. And obviously in Scotland they'd love McIntyre to do it.
Yeah, that'd be
He's
class.
a personable guy,
Yeah,
great
nice.
story,
Yeah.
and can play.
Yeah. So I think they could be classed as outsiders. The Norfolk golfer. Do you think more people should play forgiving wedges? Many buying forgiving irons and max drivers. Should the wedges match?
Yeah, well, to a degree,
If you need the help, yeah.
Yeah, I would say that nowadays all wedges are to a degree forgiving. I know they're more specialist where you get, your forged heads and so on, but they've got plenty of loft on. But I think the sole design these days of all the various bounces from all the manufacturers is mega forgiving. You've got to get your...
I think that's probably one factor that more people should consider is actually like a wedge fitting instead. Like it does not necessarily need to be a more forgiving one, but the amount of times you see it in yourself, like someone turns up to a lesson, I've just bought this new 60 because I heard I needed one, and it's got 4 degrees of bounce on it.
Yeah,
really sharp leading edge, and they're swinging super steep. It's just a recipe for disaster, isn't
going
it? So
back to
getting a wedge fitting.
Trevino and previous winners at Troon and over the years, if you looked at the wedges, I mean, Trevino's obviously a bit of a wedge master, but you look at some of the wedges that the manufacturers used to turn out, and they're like butter knives. I can remember, I'll see them these days with 0 or negative bounce, and they take a yard-long divot. But I would say, you've got to know whether you're a brusher or you kind of crush it, you squeeze it. So you do need to know, are you a bit of a picker, or are you more of a you hit down on it more, because that bounce. And there's a lot, almost too much that goes on kind of sometimes with wedge design.
You can get too involved, but
you've got to learn, like I said in the last
maybe not
podcast,
have as many as well.
Yeah,
just learn
exactly.
With one,
learn
with 2.
learn to master one first of all. You think Seve learned with a 3-iron and could play out bunkers with it. So what he learned to do was present the shaft angle and the loft and the face angle for that particular shot. So if you can get dexterous, shall we call it, with one wedge, and then expand that to 2 or 3, that's what I say. But once you learn, you can lean the shaft forward with one, or brush it and lean it back and cut it and draw it, sort of thing. So I'd get dexterous with one and then expand it.
Yes or no answer for this one?
Yes, we'll go on that one.
You've taken delivery of a fitted driver the day before a club major. Do you put it in the bag to play immediately? That's from Colin Wallace.
Yes.
Why
are you buying it? And it's a bit like, sounds a bit harsh, but people say to me, they have a lesson and they say, I'm playing a comp, should I do this tomorrow? And I say, well, of course, because what you were doing doesn't work.
Yeah.
So why are you here?
Yeah.
Give it a go. You can't put it off. But I would say so again.
Yeah, you probably have the fitting you need. You could argue, do you go to the range and hit a few balls? But I wouldn't overthink it.
But you've had the fitting. It's meant to be better than your last one. Going back to the things we spoke about a champion golfer and being patient, you've got to be optimistic and think, right, this tool's going to work. I'm going to be, rather than have that negative, I better not. It's like I say to people, a man with 2 watches never knows what time it is. So if you've got 5 drivers, you keep swapping and changing.
Yeah.
And if you've got one and you learn to, assuming it's fitted correctly, go and use it.
Yeah. And the final one, this is one more aimed at me, Stuart Horins. It's not really Open related, but have you ever considered a tournament series for YouTube like Clutch Tour, etc.? Well, we've actually released a video that went out on Monday of this week detailing sort of what I plan to do moving forward with my golf. Obviously, we did Open Championship qualifying, didn't go to plan, but it was my first comp in 2 years, and it's given me sort of a time to think about where my golf is at and what I want to do with it. So if you go and watch that video, you'll find out what our plans are moving forwards for how I plan to compete and improve my golf.
Was he asking though there that question about you guys creating a tour for other golfers?
No,
for
like
yourself?
would I do go and play Clutch?
Right.
Yeah, we couldn't. There's only me and Pete who could play on it, and Carter and Rick and a few others. But yeah, very good. That, I think, interesting. We've created the perfect golfer for the Open Championship.
Oh.
We know that they've got to score well on the par threes. You've said that if who was it doesn't win, who was your pick? Can't even remember now.
Well, I was
You had
saying
one pick.
Fleetwood and
Fleetwood
and
Harrington. If Harrington
and
doesn't win, you're going to refund
Fitzpatrick.
everyone.
Yeah.
So pretty succcul podcast.
You put your money on Harrington, folks.
There we go.
You let a bit of golf wisdom. Incidentally, his coach, or one of his former coaches, Howard. This is going back to, and this is why Harrington is a bit the way he is. Howard Bennett. Howard's 87 the other week.
Wow.
Was the pro in Chorley, but he was the national Irish coach, and Harrington, with his generosity, took him the other week when Harrington 2 weeks ago I think was inducted to the Golf Hall of Fame.
Oh yeah.
And he asked Howard along, which
That's a
is
nice
great.
touch,
And
isn't
Howard's
it?
still passionate about coaching, and so is Mr. Harrington about playing and coaching, of course. So
There we go. It's an
he's
omen.
my man.
There we go. Well, guys, thank you for coming along and sitting in for Tom. He will be back next week.
Sorry, folks.
Oh,
yes.
oh, will he? I don't know if he will be back next week because
Is he on his jollies, or is he?
he's away on his jollies. He's got engaged, so send him some love in his comments.
Well deserved.
And we are at the Open next week, so I'm not sure. We might have a special guest next week potentially, but we will be up at the Open doing the pod next week. So if you haven't already, as I said earlier, make sure you subscribe to the channel, following us, leaving us a review, following us on our socials. Thanks for listening /watching, and we will see you in another one, or hear you in another one very soon.